Ahmadinejad proposed a debate with Obama at the United Nations. That's his turf. That he doesn't know it or he's pretending otherwise, but that's also Obama's turf because the UN is controlled by communists and the communists are backing every rogue terrorist state they can to destabilize the world because their goal is to destroy capitalism and they've got to nip away at us any way they can. And if they can use Arabs, if they can use Martians, it doesn't matter to them. They'll use anybody they can to make trouble, to disrupt, and to torment the West, and especially the United States. Ahmadinejad proposed a debate with Obama at the United Nations in New York regarding the roots of world problems. Man, you're obsessed with yourself, Mr. Root. But he made clear Tehran would not bow to pressure on the nuclear issue. He's just dead set on making electricity, that's all. Yeah. Our talks with major powers will only be in the framework of cooperation for managing global issues and nothing else. That's what Ahmadinejad said. Defiant little bastard, two-bit dictator, SOB. We have clearly announced this, Ahmadinejad said. The nuclear issue is a finished issue for us. From now on, we will continue our path in the framework of the UN Nuclear Watchdog Agency. See, that's the fox guarding the henhouse right there, having the UN cooperate with Iran in their efforts to get the bomb. Because the UN is eat up with communist leftist wackos from hell. They also subverted the sanctions against Saddam, helped him to sell oil to get money for weapons and to stay in power. It's all a sham. He was asked about a so-called freeze for freeze proposal, first put forward last year, under which Iran would freeze expansion of its nuclear program in return for the UN Security Council's halting further sanctions. I say, you put sanctions on them as ferociously as you can, knowing full well that it's going to hurt the innocent Iranians who do not want this dictator in power, do not want the Khomeini followers, the ragheads, the extremists in power. They took over. They took over Iran. No cooperation with North Korea. Western diplomats say the proposal remains on the table, and one source said it was made clear in a meeting with Iran's chief nuclear negotiator, whose name I can't pronounce, and who cares. Ahmadinejad in April announced Iran had prepared its own proposals to end the stalemate, and he said on Monday they would refer to Iran's opposition to weapons of mass destruction. The reason I'm reading this is because on your television set and on your radio you're going to hear tons and tons of nonsense and trivia. Maybe you'll hear a blurb on Ahmadinejad. Iran has been working on the bomb for as long as Saddam was, as early as Saddam was. This is old stuff. This has been going on since forever. And the State of Stupidity Department can only suggest diplomatic solutions. The same diplomatic solutions that were imposed on Saddam, which he thumbed his nose at, with the cooperation of the officials in the UN. Obama has offered a new beginning of diplomatic engagement with Iran if it unclenches its fist, but Washington has not ruled out military action if diplomacy fails. That's nice to know. It's kind of inconceivable that a communist such as Obama would want to rein in his own Doberman. That's what Ahmadinejad is, regardless of how they posture on TV. They're working hand in hand. behind the scenes secretly, just like Obama is working hand in hand secretly with Hugo Chavez. Publicly, they appear to be adversaries. That's not the case. It's a sham. They're all in this together. Last week, the U.S. president set a rough timetable for his diplomatic outreach to Iran for the first time, saying he wanted to see serious progress by the end of the year. Woohoo! Wow, that's tough. You know, the United States has been, you know, frowning at Iran, frowning really hard. We really mean it this time when we frown. You know, for decades we've been frowning at Iran. And we're going to really frown, and we're giving you to the end of the year, or we're going to really frown. We're going to frown on you. That'll really hurt. We hate to do it. Iran says it is ready for constructive talks, but has repeatedly rejected demands to halt sensitive uranium enrichment, which can have both civilian and military purposes. He doesn't need the civilian purpose. He doesn't need to generate electricity using nuclear power. He is overflowing in oil and gas. He doesn't have the money for civilian purposes. All his money goes for military purposes, and his nuclear program is under the supervision of the military. His peaceful nuclear research is under the direct total supervision of the Iranian military. Ahmadinejad facing a challenge in the election. He's not facing any challenge. All the elections in Iran are rigged. Those clerics, those dudes that wear those turbans on their heads, the little bastard children of Khomeini, the dictator who took control of Iran against the wishes of the people, installed himself as the dictator of Iran with the help of Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, the President of the United States back in the 70s, the late 70s. Ahmadinejad claims to be facing a challenge in the election from moderate advocates, moderates advocating détente. Détente. See, they see themselves in the same position as the former Soviet Union. Détente. We want détente while we build our bomb. Then we're going to bomb whoever we feel like bombing. But until then, until we've perfected it, we advocate détente.